Hi guys, welcome back to the Caffeinated Classroom. If this is your first time here, my name is Marie. I'm a high school English teacher in San Diego, California. You are currently joining me in my virtual classroom. If you've been watching me for a while, you'll see that the paper on the walls looks a lot like my real classroom. It's the extra roll of paper that I had left over. I know, none of this is very surprising or shocking or even interesting. So let's talk about why you came here today, why you clicked on that little video and you decided to watch, other obviously than your undying love for me. Chances are you feel like I feel almost daily, if not daily, multiple times a day even. And this pandemic, the year 2020, and everything that has gone along with it has been an earth shaker for everyone I know, and just about everybody I come in contact with, whether I know them or not, right? And so it leaves us educators especially, that's the perspective from which I can speak, feeling like there's no way we can ever do enough. We can't be enough. We can't be what our students need us to be. We can't be what our own friends and family need us to be because we're trying to do all the things all the time. And there are very few people that get that the way that educators do. And I'm gonna throw this out there too. Classroom teachers, and those of you who are also working with students on a daily basis, like in the trenches, quite frankly, our admin friends don't get it either. They want to, but they don't get it. They don't have the pull that we have on our heart and our brains and our sanity to create the things we need to create and reach the learning goals and do all the things for all the kids. It's just something that you have to be in it to get. So I want you to know, I'm so in it and I so get it. And I feel every day like I'm not doing enough in every area of my life. And so I'm not gonna tell you like, you're doing fine, you're doing great, because it's all the stuff that we already know. Like we know that we're doing fine, we know that we're doing everything that we can. It doesn't make us feel better. So I'm gonna tell you what I do and what I suggest you try, 4 different things to help you deal. Okay, you're not necessarily gonna feel all better, but it might take the edge off. So let's get started. That you need to do when you start to get that overwhelming, chest crushing feeling that you're just not doing enough and you aren't enough and you'll never be enough and when will this end and it all starts to cave in, is stop it. I know, I hear myself. Just stop it. Just get up and like walk away. Literally, who cares? You know what? You're in the middle of a Zoom call, you say, I got a quick emergency, I'll be right back, everybody. You just turn your camera off, you mute yourself, and you get up and you walk away from the situation. Hopefully it doesn't happen in the middle of a call with your students. And if you're in the classroom doing some sort of hybrid or in-person combo madness, obviously that's not something you can do. But the minute that you can, stop it. And change your station. Just get some fresh air, move to a different part of the room, move to a different room, go outside, like do something to physically get yourself out of that moment, because stewing in it, take it from me, is the worst thing. Like it just like sucks you down into those spirally feelings of not doing enough. I know I'm a phenomenal teacher. I mean, it's not that I'm like braggy, it's that I know what I'm doing. I have worked really hard. I continue to work really hard to develop my craft. I know I'm good at this. I also know that I am garbage right now in the way that my students are learning compared to the way they would have been learning in my classroom. The woulda, coulda, shoulda doesn't have a place here, and it creeps its way in, but it should not be allowed, right? So then when that starts to happen, stop it. Just get up, move away. And whether that takes a 2-minute break, a 5-minute break, an hour break, whatever makes sense for your current situation. Obviously you're in class, you can't be like, I'll be back in an hour, guys. That doesn't work out, but do something to give your mind and your soul a moment away. Gotta step back, and especially when it feels like there's no time for anything, take 5 minutes, take 20 minutes, right? Like just change it for the amount of time that you can, because that is where the greatest perspective comes. Sometimes I'll just drive around the block for 10 minutes, come back, it has to take my mind off of something because I'm driving, right? So I have to focus on something else. It's just a way to change what's immediately happening right in front of my eyes and right in front of my consciousness. The second thing that I try to do, and that I would encourage you to do, by the way, I'm obviously not a mental health care professional, so just take my advice with a grain of salt and make it work for you. But try to zoom out. Try to, when you're specifically talking about students, right? Because that's what we can connect with for the most part. Those of you watching for the most part are teachers like myself. Take a step back. What are our big goals? What really are the biggest learning goals for everybody? What are the global goals, if you will, for all students, either in one class or in all classes? Like, we can get so lost in the nitty gritty, and then when a situation like this, where we're virtual or hybrid or in person with masks and plexiglass and all these different things, like, it's so easy to get brought down by the, oh, they're not gonna get their grammar and blah, 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 blah. It's not that those things aren't important. It's that what are the most important big ideas? What are those big lofty goals? And are we addressing those? So for instance, when I start to get like bogged down and what if we don't make it to Shakespeare, their iambic pentameter, how will they ever have a job? Like, they're gonna be fine. I gotta zoom out. What are my big goals? Well, my big goals include things like reading, and especially reading stamina. I teach a population of a lot of reluctant readers, and the only way that they're gonna get better at reading is if they build their stamina, right? So it's like, I get back to those core ideas. Are we reading, and are we developing reading stamina? There's one big thing. Another thing is, let me check my notes because I don't wanna like go too long here, guys. You know how I get talky. Critical thinking. Are they thinking critically about the things we're talking about and the things that we're reading and the other, concepts that we have going on in the content of our class? Are they thinking about it? Are they making connections to other texts, to themselves, to the world, right? And then last but not least, are they developing their writing skills? Those are my big goals. And if I step back and I can take a look at things and think like, okay, yes, I'm reaching that. No, I'm not reaching that. But it just gives me a little dose of perspective. Speaking of perspective, my third tip, and what I try to do as much as I can, and it is hard when you are steeped in education to take yourself out of it, is to get an outside perspective. Whether that outside perspective is just talking to somebody completely outside of education, maybe it's talking to a friend or a family member, maybe it's just talking to a coworker and getting perspective from them and how things are going in their classroom. And you can see, oh wow, things are going really well for them. What can I do that they're doing? Or, oh wow, we're doing the same stuff. Everybody's having the same problems. It just gives you a little bit of perspective. My perspective often comes from my 7-year-old. Quite frankly, talking to him and getting a little bit of his perspective on the day, on life, on COVID, like it just freshens things up and it helps me kind of renew the why I'm doing things. And I sometimes also just getting completely away from education, period, like I said before, really does help. Listen to a podcast about business. Watch fluffy TV. Read a trashy novel. That's what I do. I read vapid YA and I love it. But it helps me just remove myself a little bit and get a little dose of perspective that there are other things happening in the world. And it's not like we don't know there are other things happening in the world. We're kind of in the eye of the storm as educators, especially in the US right now. That's the experience I can speak from anyways. But any little opportunity we have to see what's happening outside of that is really, really helpful. And then lastly, my fourth tip is to recenter, right? Once you've been able to just stop, change your station a little bit, maybe zoom out, take a look, are those big goals that we're trying to reach educationally within my classroom happening? What's going on? What is it really that I want to get done with these students with the time and within the constraints that I have? And then getting some outside perspective. Once I kind of get through those things, it's time to recenter. And if there are changes that I want to make, I'll make those changes. Or if it's just a matter of needing that perspective and a fresh breath to then stay the course. And obviously that has a lot to do with either the sorts of things I'm doing with my students to facilitate conversation, or like however I'm running class, maybe that's something that I either need to make some changes because I'm not reaching those goals and that perspective showed me that, or I need to stay the course. It's okay, they're okay. To be honest, I keep finding myself in a stay the course kind of a way. I like to freak out. Traditionally, I'm a person that like freaks out and is like, I have to take action. Right now, I really don't need to take action. I just need to keep going and be consistent and do what I know is right for my students and what I designed and make tweaks here and there, but stay the course for the most part. Yeah, so hopefully that is helpful. If nothing else, just know we're all going through it too. Like, that doesn't make me feel a whole lot better other than to know that I'm not alone. And that breath of fresh air hopefully will be coming. I'm not a toxic positivity type of a person. I'm a let's look at reality and try to find the bright side type of a person, but also to feel the negative so that we don't just sweep it under the rug. We have to feel it to be able to move through it rather than over or around it. Yeah. So I do have something for you guys. If you are in need of, or didn't know you were in need of until this moment, some warm-ups, bell ringers, or even just quick little transition or end of class activities having to do with gratitude with your students. I have 5 weeks worth of warm-ups or bell ringers that are all different types of prompts having to do with fostering a sense of gratitude in our students. And it's not preachy. It's not like you should be thankful. It's just more of taking time to reflect and see what we can be thankful for. And when we're talking about things like, I feel like I'm never doing enough, I can't talk, sorry. Those moments of gratitude are really precious and more rare sometimes the more stressed out we get. So if you would like to get your hands on 3 weeks of bell ringers having to do with gratitude and bring them into your classroom, just head to the description box down below, find the link, and those will be sent to your inbox. And with no further ado, until we meet again, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.